Well, howdy, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. It is I, Cy Strikeling, yet again, and we are here and we're live. And we're live today with Aiden Malacaria. And say hi, Aiden.
Hello.
So, we're going to do today's interview with Aiden, and he does a lot of metal music, like covers and some original songs on YouTube, as well as some other things. So, I've been really looking forward to this and getting the opportunity to do this interview. So, thank you for being here. I do appreciate it.
No problem.
And so, if you don't mind, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is you do on YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube, mostly do covers, but pretty much just do music in any form I can think of at the time, which, as you've seen, is a pretty big variety. So, I originally started on YouTube some like maybe 7 or 8 years ago, on my athlete channel, just doing training samplers from in the tricking community, and then moved up to like travel vlogs and started doing music at the same time. So I made the second channel for my music, and it's been the focus for the last few years.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely, you have quite a variety. I've noticed you have a bunch of different types of songs that you've done covers of, and they're all metal covers. Um,
hmm
how do you go about choosing what songs you're going to do?
Choosing is really fun because I have a playlist on Spotify most of the time that's I just called requested covers, which is like songs that I'll pick. And when I'm listening to a playlist, anytime if I like a song, I just send it to the playlist. And if someone suggests a song, I just put it in the playlist. So whenever I go to pick a cover, I just play the playlist and hit shuffle until I feel the song for the day. And go with that, unless someone suggests to me, hey, let's do a song together. And so I'll just get straight to that project. Or sometimes a song is new, and so I'll want to do that one as soon as possible. Or sometimes a song is just really cool and I love it. Um, and I'll just get straight to it. Yeah, but most of the time it's from that playlist.
Awesome. I know you also do some of your, you have some original songs on your channel as well. Do you write them yourself? Do you have somebody who helps you write those?
No, everything's me. The writing, the instrumentation, and the recording, that's all me. I mix and master everything myself.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, I have a different writing process for each song mostly, and I just kind of write whatever I'm feeling, or
Mm.
sometimes I just write a chunk and I chuck it in a folder and I leave it for a while, and then I come back to that folder and see what's in there, see what I can make out of it. So yeah, they just however I can think of a way to write a song, I try and do that. I love writing, so yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's definitely always interesting to see what comes out, when you just kind of put your head to it and just kind of, work on a new song or whatever, it's always interesting.
Yeah.
And let's see. All right, perfect. And do you have like a preferred song that you like a type of music that you like to listen to or anything like that?
Well, listening to is very varied. We I like to listen to a lot of metal, so most of
Mhm.
the time it's just heavy stuff, but I also really like cyberpunk. I like lately I've been into electro swing. I like medieval music. I love chanting, like big vocal chanting,
Mhm.
orchestral songs, soundtrack stuff. I love the Doom soundtracks. Anything from Mick Gordon, I love it. And Jeff Plays Guitar is a channel on YouTube. I just love his content. He makes songs and he turns them into a Doom style. So that always gets me going.
That's awesome.
And I love a lot of reggaeton as well, and Spanish music. Um, yeah, it's a super wide variety for me for listening.
Yeah, it sounds like it for sure. So what kind of I've seen you play some instruments. What all do you play, if any?
Yeah, mostly just guitar and vocals. I
Okay.
dabbled in piano a long time ago, and I can hold a few chords, but I'm not a pianist. Um, yeah, mostly just guitar and vocals.
Awesome. Let's see. And I've noticed your music that you'd have covered on your channel seems to be a lot of very varied stuff. You've got some pop, some boy bands. You've got some Linkin Park, some I've noticed some System of a Down in there. I think you did Chop
Yeah,
Suey.
yeah.
Do you find that like one style of music or the other is more of a favorite for your fans as well?
Yeah, actually, I've noticed over the last couple of years, I've kind of honed in a bit more on what I'm good at, I would say.
Hmm.
So I don't tend to do the new metal style anymore as the Linkin Park or the
Hmm.
System of a Down or Three Days Grace. Because originally when I started doing covers, it was back when punk goes pop albums were coming out, and I was like, oh, I really like this song. It'd be cool in a metal version. So I
Hmm.
thought, well, no one's done it. Might as well start doing it. And so I set out to kind of make the metal songs that I wanted to be hearing, and it went on from there. And I found that a lot of the songs that I tend to do best at, or I really enjoy the most, are the high energy party songs back from like the 2010s. Um, I really love them, and because they for some reason the choruses are always left really open to put
Hmm.
big riffs in. You can put some choir and strings in the background, add some synths over the top, and I just love that style. Back before mumble rap kind of killed vocal melody, so
Yeah.
yeah, the vocal melodies always give you room to play. You can add screaming in if I can't sing that high, or I can, move the pitches up and down, and the energy of the underlying songs are really good. And
Yeah.
other than that, I really like Eminem's tracks because
Hmm.
the they always leave loads of room for riff play. So like if I when I did Till I Collapse, that song I came up with riff after riff that I could potentially use, and I had to basically narrow down from a selection of like 20 that I wanted in that song. So yeah, I love Eminem tracks for some reason. They're just easy for me to write, and I love recording them. I love learning his raps and just seeing what a lyrical genius he is. And then yeah, a lot of the pop songs like Ariana Grande comes out with some really good tracks
Hmm.
because they're already good songs.
Right.
So you don't want to try and beat a dead horse. I'm not going to pick a song with no energy and try and make it good. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of variety to your songs, but yeah, you're right. Those some of those like 2010s songs are kind of good for that.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're super fun. And the only problem with those is the vocals are they tended to be a lot of just open vowels, and they had like these big vocal lines that didn't really have any lyrics
Hmm.
to them. So I've always struggled with that, but they lend themselves to really good riff material, so you can turn those into riffs, and I love doing that. So
Oh,
that's kind of
awesome.
where I sit.
That's cool. We also did have a question from the live chat for you. Are the other
Hmm.
instruments in your music done via samples or loops, or are they MIDI sequenced or outsourced?
Yeah, so that's a perfect question. With the drums and bass, predominantly use Mjolnir drums and Loki bass from Solemn Tones. And the drums, I haven't changed in like a year and a half. I found a set sound that I mix together, and that's just my preset. Bass, I don't do much with the bass up until the last 6 months, but I don't use any loops. To be honest, I can't figure out how to use them, so I don't use them. And most of it will be MIDI sequenced, which I have a lot of stems for the songs. So
Hmm.
I use synths to back up the riffs. I use choir and orchestration to lift the melodies and the root notes and everything. But the final part of that question, outsourced, sometimes I use a website called Karaoke Version, and you just buy a track on there if it's on there, and
Hmm.
they've got a team that appears to come up with all the instruments in any song. And so they have their own that you can buy and you can use it for your own karaoke version. So sometimes if I can't figure out what the sounds individually are in a song, I'll just go and I'll buy the track, and you can download the stems of their version of the track. So it'll be maybe like a little synth in the background that I wouldn't have found, or it'll be some sort of, for example, a saxophone solo. I can't play those, and I don't have a MIDI instrument to do that. So I sometimes get those put in by karaoke version. So, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and that definitely answers that question pretty well. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And so what? Why metal? Like, why not sing, pop covers or what made you
Uh,
choose metal covers?
oh, they're just the most fun. I don't know how else to put it. I think because when I was a teenager, I was just, I mean, still now, I'm pretty hyperactive, and I
Mhm.
was really hyperactive back in the day. So for me, metal was the only thing that I could kind of relate to and not get bored with. I grew up with Linkin Park, and
Mhm.
then I fell in love with Escape the Fate, Falling in Reverse, Parkway Drive, all the metalcore that came out. And for me, it was just lots of energy. So I'd have my friend and I, singing along, trying to scream in the car, and it kind of worked one day, and we just, yeah, we loved it. So I stuck with it because it was all I knew how to write as a guitarist. Um, yeah, and it's just the most energy for me, so I like
Yeah.
it.
It definitely, when you watch your videos, you definitely look like you're having a lot of fun in them. So that's
Yeah,
what's most
I try to.
important.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
the same person that had that question before in chat says, "Great answers. Very pleased you use MIDI. It's mostly a lost art."
yeah, no, I use MIDI for everything. It's a pain in the ass because I don't have a good MIDI keyboard. I have like a
Hmm.
25 key thing, but 9 times out of 10, I'm just sitting there double clicking, putting in all the notes. And
Hmm.
if anyone that uses MIDI knows how frustrating that can be, yeah, I like using MIDI.
Yeah, that's awesome. So with your other channel, what do you mostly post on that, like your personal channel?
Yeah, I used to post a lot, and I just moved over my focus to the music channel. And I thought that I would keep them separate because it'd be good to have my athletic stuff on there and
Hmm.
my music stuff on here. But then I decided that merging them was best. So I ended up going with the music channel and putting as many skills into that as I could. So that's why I tend to try and show some acrobatics or some
Hmm.
fire, or I get my friends to join in with me. Because yeah, it wasn't really easy to do them both, and
Right.
I'm always working, like usually full time or doing a lot. I didn't have the time to put two channels together anymore. So the other channel, I have a lot of like private videos that'll be routines or interviews or auditions that I'll send out that are not really for the public, but the videos are on that channel. So it's more of a professional channel for performing, I would
Yeah.
say, because I still perform. So you need your show reels on there somewhere.
Awesome. Um, I've noticed too, you do have like some in the I'll Make a Man Out of You cover that you did. You had a lot
Yeah.
of performance with some other people in there, and that was really just a fun video. That was one of the first ones I saw of yours, and I was like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one was interesting, because those two people,
Hmm.
Rachel and Terrell, thank you so much, you two. They were my teammates in Run when I was in Vegas doing Cirque du Soleil. So after I left and came back to Australia, with the whole COVID thing, I wanted to do a video with them before I left. I didn't get the chance. So
Hmm.
I sent them, hey, this is the script I've come up with, like a timeline of the video. Do you reckon you can do this? And so they got together in their studio and they sent me all the scenes and the shots that I had asked for, and they killed it. Like they did such a great job. And so I put that um, with my video, and yeah, it was really awesome how it turned out, having somewhat directed and made a video internationally while not even having to be there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I did, that's one thing I noticed with, with COVID, of course, is that, people have had to adapt, and there's been so many, different groups and artists that have had to, separate because of it, but they're still making videos, and it's really cool to
Mm.
see, just being able to put that together, from so far away. And that was a really, I'll Make a Man Out of You was a really good video you did, and it worked. It
Thank you.
definitely worked.
Thank you. Yeah, I want like my goal for them now is is mainly just to have fun. And if I'm
Hmm.
not having fun, I kind of just scrap the project, to be
Yeah.
honest. So,
That's how it has to be, you
I,
know? It needs to be fun.
yeah, I'll push myself as much as I can and remind myself that a job can get done. And it's not always going to be fun, but the essential part of the songs has to be enjoyable.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah, I can see the chat on my phone now. It's
Oh,
working.
okay,
So,
cool.
yeah. Um, there's someone asked a hardball question, I noticed. Um, I'll go ahead and answer this one.
All
So,
right.
the hardball question: how hard is it to lose that wonderful Aussie accent when you do your covers? Funny thing about that, all the singers that I know in Australia have all gone through the same process. When you go into a studio, you're basically taught to kill your accent and get rid of it because no one wants to hear it. So,
Wow, I'm
a lot
surprised.
of, yeah, we all learn to pronounce things American when we're doing songs because our accent just sounds very harsh,
Hmm.
to put it simply. And yeah, it's a thing that we all have to kind of go through when we're doing music. No one really lets out their Aussie accent. So
Yeah, I never really thought about that. That
yeah,
is.
it is hard, but you get used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man. So, speaking of COVID and everything, you've had to move back to Australia. What do you do
Hmm.
for a living now?
Um, since coming back, it's been a myriad of different jobs, but at the moment, I work in a workshop where we build all different things. We build furniture, we build uh, little tech devices, we build entertainment things, and I do laboring for whoever, mostly laboring for my best friend, doing plumbing, which is good fun. So I've done that all week. And other than that, because there's no performing or teaching here with lockdowns, I would usually teach acrobatics or perform. But for a while, we haven't had that. So no performing.
Yeah, that has to be rough for sure. It's been tough on everybody, but hopefully we can get back to, performing and live things more often, at least soon.
Yeah.
And let me see. Okay, perfect. So when you're not performing, when you're not working, when you're not making videos, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do?
Um, lately, I've been reading a lot. I don't have, funny enough, the hobbies that I had, I turned them into this. So music and acrobatics ended up being sort of my job. But yeah, I like going to the gym. I like working on creative projects or doing, at the moment, I'm beginning into No Man's Sky
Hmm.
and um, I like watching a lot of Warhammer 40K lore videos. Any Warhammer fans out there? Really into those. And yeah, so I don't do too much hobby
Hmm.
anymore. I don't have as much time as I used to.
Right.
So
Yeah,
um,
between working and making, content, it's got to be time consuming, that's for sure.
yeah, it gets a bit full on sometimes. And especially when when lockdowns aren't a
Hmm.
thing, it's very hard to find time to relax.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah,
Do you have any like pets or anything?
no,
No.
no,
Oh
no
man.
pets.
Just not a pet person or too much
Oh no,
time?
I've always wanted dogs, but when I lived with my mum, she doesn't like dogs too much, so I never won that battle. And I live in an apartment now, so we can't really have pets.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Right.
Yeah.
And I do just want to go back for a minute here to some of your
Hmm.
music stuff. I've taken a look at so many of your videos, but there was a few
Thank
that
you.
kind of stood out, and the one that really stood out as how did you make it was the was Die Young from Kesha.
Hmm.
If you don't mind, I'll play a few minutes of it here. No, not minutes, probably about 30 seconds or so. So we could just take a look
Yep,
at it and then we can talk about it. So
no
let me get
problem.
that brought up here. All right. Perfect. Here we go. All right. So You should be able to hear it as well. It just kind of caught my attention as how did that go, you know?
Yeah, I remember this.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Uh,
All right, I'll pause it there. But yeah, I mean, that looked like it must have been time consuming to film.
Yeah, it was tricky. So, anyone that's held your breath before, you've got a limited time to do anything. So, I, I got my brother to set up a tripod. And actually, in the apartment that I live in now, on the roof, we've got a pool where one of the walls is all glass. So what I used was him standing on the other side of the glass with the tripod pointing in, and me in the pool. And I had a script that we'd go and I'd record a line, just lip syncing it to the camera underwater, and we'd cross off the line as we went, because we can't hear underwater, so we just have to make sure it was close enough to the timing.
Right.
I did my best to play the riffs underwater, trying to remember how that went. And yeah, we just ticked off line after line after line until it all worked. And then I went down and edited it together.
Yeah, it was definitely attention grabbing because it's,
Yeah.
it looks like it had to have been difficult.
Yeah.
How
And
did
it was
the
on a budget too. So
was
anyone
it?
out there thinking that they can't do underwater videos, you can do it for free.
That's awesome. How did that guitar hold up?
Oh, that guitar, I think actually, it mostly fine. I think the little, I don't know what it's called, but the laminate on it is cracked a little, but it was kind of, that guitar had broken a while ago actually. So for me, that's kind of my thrashing guitar. I'll use it for things that are a bit dangerous.
Gotcha, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Was that a song that was requested by somebody, or was that one you just thought sounded fun?
That one I threw in my cover playlist because went through a phase where I was really into Kesha, so I kind of just dropped that one in.
It's definitely a good
Yeah.
song, and it's lively, you know?
Yeah, I heard the main synth riff, and I was like, that could be a cool guitar riff, so I chucked it in.
Yeah. It definitely sounded cool, looked good. It was very well done.
Thank you, appreciate that.
I think the first one that I found your channel on was the "I'll Make a Man Out of You," and then I was kind of looking to see like what else you had, and I saw that, and it was just like, oh, let me take a look, and it was just, yeah, definitely. I was like, all right, now I got to watch more.
Awesome, I'm glad I got you hooked.
Yeah. And I do also, I have your links down in the description of this video. So if anybody does want to check out his YouTube channel, the link is down there. So make sure you go check that out for the full videos. And let me see. So there was a couple other ones that I had grabbed here that just kind of seemed interesting and, maybe some kind of were fun to do. So let me see here. I've got... all right. Let me just swap out the video. Okay.
I'm excited to see which one you picked.
All right.
What did she say?
This was fun.
Yeah.
That was my backyard.
In Australia or...
Yeah, in Australia.
I was so wrong, only trying to please myself.
So that one, yeah, it definitely looked like a lot of fun. It had a lot of your, performing in there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just decided that, hey, I was going to put a bunch of flips in a video because I don't usually make it focus. So it was also a practice because I learned about this technique where you film in either double time or half time, and you can change the play rate when you're rendering the video. So I did the song and I grabbed like the pre-chorus and the chorus and I double timed them. So I made this weird time distorted track where it was playing in normal time and then a section for 8 bars would play in double time and then it would play in normal time and then like 1 bar would play in double time and then normal time. So what I was doing is I learned how to lip sync that track so that when I did it, I could do acrobatics at the same time. And when I time stretched the song back out, it was this song lip syncing in perfect time, but some of the sections were in slow motion, some of them were in fast motion, and etc. And so that was my first time playing with that, and I used it as a practice, really. So there's some sections where it shoots to slow motion and I'm, saying a line, and yeah, it was really hard to do, but it was super fun.
Yeah, it looks like it definitely was hard. But again, it looks like you did have a lot of fun, and the performing in the video as well was really good. So that was another awesome one. It kind of went with both things that you do, performing and the music.
That's the goal.
If you can make it fun, why not, right?
Yeah. There's a comment here. I liked "It's My Life" and "Time Warp" videos. Looked like he had way too much fun making them. That is correct. I did, and I often do have way too much fun, and I spend a lot of time laughing or making jokes off screen. The Time Warp was really great because I got all my friends and family involved, because my whole family is full of musical theater freaks, so we're all kind of really into it. And I was raised on Rocky Horror Show, so doing that one I had to get my mom especially into it. And so we dressed up, we did up the garage, and we put a jukebox in the corner and just went for it. They all knew the Time Warp already, so it was great fun.
That's awesome.
And "It's My Life" was super fun. I just grabbed the GoPro and I ran out to the car and I did it out there. And it was super hot, so I couldn't do too much on top of the car. I wanted to do a bunch up there, but every time I got up there, I kept burning my hands. So
oh, geez.
It didn't work.
Yeah, that one was another good one, because it looked like it was, super low budget, but also a lot of fun, So it's nice to see those videos where you've made something that's like a really high quality production, but, very minimalistic.
Yeah, that's it. I've got to try and work with what I've got, because trying to do regular videos obviously can get quite financially taxing, and sometimes I'll want to do something a little bit more pricey, but I often just want to do it for free because it's quick, and it's better to focus. Like I said before, it's about having fun, so I try and focus more on how can I do this in a more playful manner than dump a bunch of money and get a film crew out to get that extra bit of quality when I kind of degrade from the experience of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see. So I had a couple others here. I think I've got two more that I had pulled up. So let me get those put on screen here so that we can take a look. All right. Okay.
Someone had to have a nap in the
chat. Yeah, it's a buddy of mine, Slicks. He said he was going to be here, but he was late. How could he?
Oh, it's all right. You made it.
It's all good. All right. Let me see. That's still that one. I'll swap it out.
Yo, listen up, here's the story about a little guy that lives in a blue world.
So this one looked like a lot of fun too. The editing was really good.
Just blue, like
Thank you. Glad.
Inside and outside, blew his house with the blue little window.
I mean, who doesn't know this song, right?
Exactly. That's why I did it.
And himself and everybody around, 'cause he ain't got nobody to listen.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So yeah, definitely. If anybody's watching, check out his channel, because these videos are just incredible. That looked like so much fun, and again, it looked like it was all homemade, but well done, like high quality homemade.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The reason why that one is all done home, and so I would say, as budget as possible, is because that was done in the middle of lockdown. So we can't go, our current situation is we can't go 5 kilometers from our house without a good reason. So after moving out from where I was before, my studio was where I did vocals in that house. And so what I did when I moved, I was just travel between houses. I'd do vocals there because it's a soundproof room and I can't do that in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And I would come back here and do the instrumentals at my computer, and mix it. And this track was the only one I thought I'd give it a shot. I set my microphone up in the cupboard and I tried to soundproof it, which it kind of worked, but it's a bit too loud to still do here and too disturbing for the whole lockdown situation. So I did that one in lockdowns and filmed it just on the couch because I can't go anywhere else. And that's as good as I could get it. And I had fun with that one because in the drop, it was after I'd seen Jeff Plays Guitar, his channel, turning things into like Doom soundtracks. So I thought, I'm going to give that a shot. And they're not as doomy as what he does, but the whole premise behind them is what I've been using for some of the drops, where I grab a virtual guitar that drops down to like a low drop C, an octave below drop C. And so I just make it from this stupidly heavy guitar riff. And so the guitar playing in that one is 90% real, and then that drop is just me throwing the guitar around and pretending like I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Because I don't have an 8-string or a 9-string guitar, so I can't play them. But I write the riffs and I put them in a virtual guitar, and the songs come out really good.
Now I didn't have this one pulled up, but another one that I was interested in how it went was the Tayo Cruz featuring Flo Rida song "Hangover."
Oh yeah.
That one looked like a lot of fun as well. Was that kind of difficult to do recording? I know that's a little bit older.
That one was there's a bit of a story to it, but I didn't do the instrumentals for that one. That was the first time that I thought I'll outsource the track, and I have the links to where you can go to get that one. But I basically just paid someone for the instrumentals because when I first started writing, I had tried to cover Hangover, and I did such a bad job of it that I don't think it's on YouTube anymore. I took it all down, but it was so bad. So I hated it, and I kept the riffs because the riffs were relatively good, but it was just unfinished. So I sent out, I paid for someone to kind of finish it, and I thought, let's give this a try. I haven't worked with other people in terms of hiring a musician before, and it turned out really well. So I was very happy. And so all they did was sent back the track, and I put my vocals on it. And at this point, I'd learned a lot better vocal techniques, so it sounded a lot better. And then for the video, I thought, well, the whole premise of the song is hangover, so you got to get fucked up, right? So I thought,
exactly,
well, why not let's just have a party and I'll film it. And I basically just gave my camera out and we had a big party, and I think it was over 2 nights, and we just filmed everything that we could and ended up just having so much footage and doing all these dumb things that we thought were really fun. And then the footage turned out great. And I was like, well, that's my hangover video right there. So
yeah, absolutely. It definitely looked like a fun party. So you nailed it on that.
Yeah. And it was great. I got because my friends, a lot of them are performers. So I got my friend up on stilts. My friend Matt Muntz, he's doing stilts and he's twirling fire. I had my friend that I performed with doing the Lebanese drumming. And we were just, my other friend, Tim Farley, who is absolutely insane in the tricking community and acrobatic world. And we were doing, flips with fire in the yard, and it was a wild time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I liked that video a lot.
Thanks.
And then let's see, I did have up here as well. So another video here, I'll pull it up and then we'll talk about it a bit. Let's see.
The drop C sounds like my 8. One of the comments. Yeah, so it's meant to be an 8-string because I used the Odin guitars for it, and they tune down to a low C. I don't know if it's a C1 or C0, depends on which program you're using, but it's super low. And so I'll play the riff. Usually I'll write it up in a drop C, and then I'll drop the MIDI down to match that. and it sounds like that.
That's awesome. Definitely interesting. All right, let's see. So let's swap it out. All right, so this was Evermore from the Beauty and the Beast soundtrack. Now this one was definitely a lot different than some of your other
Yeah.
videos, and I'll see if we can skip forward a little bit. There we go.
Runs away, she will still torment me, call me, hurt me, move me.
Got all dressed up for that one.
I did.
Wasting
My
in
one
my
and only suit.
lonely tower.
Gotta have one.
Waiting
Yeah.
by an open door.
So definitely different than your typical videos, but still, it was a different cover. Like it wasn't just your typical, it wasn't just a singing of the original. It kind of had your flair on it. What made you want to do that one?
Well, I've always liked musical theater. For me, musical theater is really up there for my interests. And yeah, someone suggested, I think it was Tim Farley actually, he suggested the song because the original has such a deep, rich voice. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And I don't want to just do metal. I quite like singing other styles. I did a short stint of doing full-time musical theater training. So I really enjoy it, and I thought that was a perfect song because I've sung it a few times, and it was pretty comfortable. And I use different styles like this as a challenge to kind of push myself to learn new techniques and get better at different things. So that song was like a stepping stone to keep working at that style of singing, which was really good. And I had a vocal coach at the time that was really helpful.
Yeah, it's definitely a different style from most of your other videos, but it was a good one.
Yeah.
It kind of showed like more of a range as well, so that was kind of nice. Some
Yeah.
channels are just one thing or the other, so having the performance, the metal covers, metal songs, and then some, stuff like this kind of rounds it out.
Yeah, no, I don't want to just be doing screaming all the time. Like I do have interest in doing all the others, and I get really caught up in wanting to do everything. So I try and narrow down that focus into bite-sized chunks that I can do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect. And then I did want to talk a little bit more about your performing as well. How old were you when you first started performing, and when did you learn that like you could do some of that stuff?
It's I started with, I guess, I did gymnastics as a kid when I was like 10 for a couple of months, and I didn't really stick to it. I did trampolining for a couple of months, and then I'd moved from New South Wales to Queensland, and then I didn't do it for years. I did track and field for a long time at a high level, so I had the athleticism. And then one day I saw I think it was the 2008 Osaka Games, and I was like, oh, that'd be fun. Like, I want to go join a gymnastics class. And I was like 14 at the time. I went to a gymnastics class, and it was a bunch of 10-year-olds, doing like V-snaps and Supermans. And I thought, well, this probably isn't for me, but hey, I'll give it a shot anyway. But the coach said, just come back in an hour and a half. And I went back in, and it was the adults class. It was just 3 guys that were my age, just throwing themselves in the gym with no coach. And I thought, oh, well, this is for me, this is perfect. And I went in, and just the guys were like, can you backflip? And I was like, I don't know. And they said, well, let's try it. And so we did one on a trampoline, one on a double mini off to the floor, and then one from a springboard to the floor, and then on the floor. So I kind of just stuck with it from there. And then performing, my first show was, I went to join cheerleading when I was like 17. And I went in with a couple of friends who were going to this team. It was the Zoo All-Stars, and then we went in, and the first training session turned out to be a rehearsal for Australia's Got Talent. So I was like, well, shit, I'm in the deep end now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we did the show. Like, they put me on the team, and I coached everything there. There's a couple of us that became coaches there. And yeah, then when I came to Sydney, I didn't really do any of it. I just trained, and I got offered to teach at a studio from one of my friends who's a breakdancer, and he said, "Hey, do you want to take over my classes?" And I was like, "Sure." I did teaching before, I can do it again. I started teaching, and then got offered another job, and I thought, well, I'd like to do this full time, so I started applying for more teaching, and I started dating a girl at the time that was a performer, and she was like, well, why don't you come and join us on stage? And kind of went from there, one thing after another. So it was a very slow process, but it was, it just kind of fell in place that way.
Awesome. I do have a clip here from your most recent show reel. Let me see if I could pull that up. We'll take a look, and your performing is definitely, some of it I was like, wow, that has to be difficult. Some of the backflips and just how is it working with fire and stuff like that?
It's freaking awesome. To put it simply, I love it. Fire is really dangerous. Don't get me wrong, and you should always focus on safety, and which I always do. I've always focused a lot on safety. I never put that on screen. I don't film that, but anything I'm doing, there's usually a lot of safety involved. But I just find it really fun, and it doesn't scare me too much. So it's something that I've just thought, well, no one's doing this that much, so I'll do it. And yeah, I don't really remember how it started. I think when I first started doing fire breathing, it was not safe. Like I grabbed a mouthful of kerosene and I blew at a lighter and it worked. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely something to hone, I think,
Yeah, it took some time to get good at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a look here. I have your show reel up, and I'll see. There we go.
You live in Australia, everything wants to kill you.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's for sure.
Yeah, fire is a cakewalk, yeah. Yeah, so these shows and everything just looked like insane, but like a lot of fun. I mean, this had to be just so much fun to do and to be a part of.
Yeah, these are a very wide range of clips. The first ones there is, that was Run, the show that I did in Vegas with Cirque, and that's me catching a motorbike there. And again, and the other one with my shirt off was my first actual solo as a acro dancer. So that was something that I was going to work on, doing acro dance, and one of my friends helped me choreograph a routine. Neil Whitaker, he's like one of the craziest dancers I've ever seen. He's such an amazing performer. And he, we got together and made that so that I could, start doing that. And then ran away with the circus soon after. So
yeah.
I didn't get to do it for too long.
Yeah. What is it like working with Cirque du Soleil? Is it intense?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of training. It's a lot of hours. You do. We were doing creation, so we had to make a whole new show from scratch, basically. Wow. And so we had fun, basically just trying out all the different skills we could to see what worked and what didn't. And then you have your directing team that put you through what they want you to do. And so you have long rehearsals of making sure you choreograph, find out what works, what doesn't, train for skills that you could potentially learn and perform. And yeah, you're looking, like we did, there was people that were doing a lot more than I was, but even my timetable was quite often 6 days a week, and you're in the theater for up to 10 to 12 hours a day. Not every day is the same. Right. And some people had much longer days, like our main character, Mark. He got pushed to the brim, but he did a great job. So, it's hard, every day is different.
Right.
You're not always training. The hardest part actually is not training when you're there, because your muscles get cold and you go stiff and you have to warm up again. So sometimes training for 4 hours, training for 4 hours straight is easier than training for 1 hour and taking a 2 hour break and training for 1 hour again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
all
yeah,
those shows, when people go to see the Cirque du Soleil shows and stuff, everything looks so smooth and just seamless. But
yeah.
behind the scenes, I'm sure there's just so much that goes on.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's lots, and it's hard to appreciate your own show when you
Hmm.
are always in it. Like most of us never got to watch the show, so
Right.
we don't know what people see. But it's so much fun,
Yeah,
and yeah, I miss it a lot.
definitely. And then here, this clip here.